From the PEP Radio Newsroom, we have this counterpoint story about tariffs on imported food from Brazil. Brazilian Vice President Geraldo Alckmin said Saturday that Brazilian exported goods to the United States, including coffee, beef, and tropical fruits, would still be tariffed 40% despite President Donald Trump's decision to remove some import taxes. In a dramatic move on Friday, Trump scrapped levies announced in April on what he called Liberation Day, in hopes of encouraging domestic production and lifting the U.S. economy. Brazil at the time was hit with a 10% tariff, but in July, Trump imposed a further 40% tariff, citing, among other reasons, the trial of his ally, former President Jair Bolsonaro, which he called a witch hunt. Proceedings went ahead regardless, and in September, Bolsonaro was sentenced to 27 years and 3 months in prison for attempting a coup. Alckmin said some products, such as orange juice, would have a zero tariff as they were not targeted by the additional 40%, but that extra tariff remains in place on products including coffee, beef, tropical fruits, and items such as, of course, mangoes and pineapples and such. While Brazil's vice president welcomed Trump's latest decision, which he called positive and a step in the right direction, he said there remained a distortion that needs to be corrected. Everyone got 10% less, but in Brazil's case, which had 50%, we ended up with 40%, which is very high, Alckmin told journalists in the capital, Brasilia. Alckmin said that Friday's decision means that 26% of Brazilian goods are now entering the U.S. without additional tariffs. That's up from 23%. Trump's July decision, which was overtly political as Brazil has a trade deficit with the United States, led to the worst U.S.-Brazil relations in history. Those relations have since improved, and in October, Brazilian President Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva and Trump met in Malaysia. President Lula's conversation with President Donald Trump was important in terms of dialogue and negotiation, Alckmin said on Saturday. That's what we know for now. Reporting from the PEP Radio Newsroom, I'm David Moore.